Imagine this, you're exhausted, completely drained. Someone asks you to help them move this weekend, and before you even think, the word yes is already out of your mouth. Later, alone in your room, you feel this creeping sensation. Not relief, not pride, guilt. You didn't want to say yes, you needed rest, but somehow wanting rest felt selfish. Have you ever noticed how some people apologize for taking a lunch break? How they feel shame for saying, I need a minute? How they shrink themselves down as if their own needs are an inconvenience to the world? What's really happening in the psychology of someone who feels guilty about their own needs? Is it people-pleasing, low self-worth, or something much deeper in their psychology? Why do some people treat their own desires like crimes they need to confess? Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't admit. If you feel guilty about having needs, you were likely taught that your value comes from what you give, not from who you are. And that conditioning runs deep. Let's break down the 4 types of people who carry this invisible burden. Type 1, the emotional debt collector. This person keeps a mental ledger. Every favor they receive gets written down in red ink. Someone bought them coffee, they owe them. A friend listened to their problems, debt. They feel guilty asking for anything because they believe they haven't earned it yet. What they do is they overgive to balance the scales. They exhaust themselves trying to pay back kindness that was freely given. The hidden psychology. Their brain learned early that love is transactional. Maybe they grew up in an environment where affection came with conditions, where support had strings attached. So their nervous system coded a simple equation, receiving equals owing. But here's what they don't realize. This hypervigilance about balance is actually a sophisticated survival strategy. They're protecting themselves from the vulnerability of genuine dependence. And that's not weakness. That's their psyche building walls where boundaries should have been taught. Type 2, the invisible caretaker. You know this person, they're always available, always helpful, always fine. But when they need something, silence. They'll drive across town to help you but won't ask you to pick up milk on your way over. What they do is they make themselves small. They minimize their needs, their pain, their exhaustion. They've mastered the art of not being a burden. The hidden psychology? This often stems from childhood emotional neglect, not the obvious kind, the subtle kind, where their needs were met, sure, but met with sighs, with inconvenience, with subtle messages that their existence was slightly too much. So their brain developed a brilliant adaptation. If I don't need anything, I can't be rejected. If I don't ask, I can't be disappointed. Their dopamine system literally rewired itself to find pleasure in self-denial. They get a hit of relief from not imposing. And here's the strength nobody sees. They've become masters of self-sufficiency. They've learned to survive on scraps of attention. That's not pathetic. That's resilience born from necessity. Type 3, the worthiness auditor. This type constantly questions whether they deserve good things. A compliment, they deflect. A promotion, luck. Someone wants to help them, they must have ulterior motives. What they do is they create tests, subconscious experiments to prove they're worthy before they'll accept anything. They need to earn every moment of rest, every act of kindness, every basic human need. The hidden psychology? Shame, deep, early shame that attached itself to their identity. Maybe they were compared to siblings. Maybe they internalized a parent's disappointment. Maybe they just absorbed the message that they weren't quite enough as they were. Their brain now operates on a scarcity model. There's not enough worthiness to go around, so they better not take more than their share. It's an emotional starvation mindset. But the truth? This relentless self-examination makes them incredibly empathetic. They see the struggle in others because they're intimate with their own. That guilt they feel. It's actually proof of a conscience so sensitive it turned inward. Type 4, the boundary phantom. This person knows they should have boundaries. They've read the books. They understand the concept. But when it comes time to actually say no, their body floods with panic. The guilt is physical, nausea, tight chest, racing heart. What they do is they ghost their own needs. They'll agree to things they hate, then resent everyone involved, including themselves. The hidden psychology? This is often about safety. At some point, saying no became dangerous. Maybe a parent withdrew love. Maybe a partner punished boundaries with silence. Their nervous system learned boundaries equal abandonment. So now their fight-or-flight response activates at the mere thought of disappointing someone. The guilt they feel isn't irrational. It's a warning system. Their body genuinely believes that prioritizing themselves could lead to exile from the tribe. And here's what makes them remarkable. Despite this terror, they keep trying. They keep struggling towards self-advocacy. That's not failure. That's courage in its rawest form. Here's what you need to understand. You're not broken for feeling guilty about your needs. You're just carrying adaptive strategies that once kept you safe. Your psyche did what it had to do to survive in environments that couldn't hold all of you. But survival mode isn't meant to be permanent. You're not selfish for wanting rest. You're not demanding for asking for support. You're not too much for existing with needs. You're just finally free from the lie that your value comes from your depletion. So which type are you? The debt collector, the invisible caretaker, the worthiness auditor, or the boundary phantom? Or maybe you don't fit these perfectly. If that's you, drop a comment and describe your type 5. What does guilt about your needs look like in your life? Join our community of people who value presence and growth. Hit subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. It genuinely helps more people find messages like this when they need them most. Because behavioral code isn't just a channel, it's a mindset. It's permission to be human. Fully, messily, unapologetically human. We'll see you in the next one.